Hey guys, this is Zeals. I'm back with another video today, and today we're gonna dive into JJR4G's Idle Heroes PvP tier list for the endgame meta, and finally we're gonna dive into the Abyss faction today. And starting off, guys, I just want to say a thank you to all my subscribers and viewers. I appreciate all the questions and all the comments, guys. I'm going to answer everybody's question in the comment section below. It may take a day or two, but I'm getting through it, guys. So if you have any questions, guys, just leave a question below and I'll get back to you guys. Anyways, let's get into the video, guys. We have the Abyss faction finally. There's a lot of content and a lot of things to talk about in the Abyss faction because it's been kind of revamped back into life thanks to the heroes I'm going to talk about today. Anyways, guys, we're going to talk with the top hero today, and that is not going to be Scurry, but Cruz. I know some people might hate me for this, but I do love Scurry, and I do use Scurry still in my, or I'm going to say Scary or Scurry or whatever. I do still use him or her, whatever you prefer. Well, it is him anyways, but I use Scurry in my lineup currently because I don't have any other better hero at the moment because I did lose my Faith Blades. That's a long story. Anyways, guys, it's all about the Abyss faction. I do want to start with the most complicated and the most overpowered hero in the Abyss faction currently in the endgame meta, and that's going to be Cruz. Right now, we're going to talk about his last passive, guys. His last passive, as you all know, at 10 star, you know, after he is below 50% health, he activates a 75% stun to all your opponents, right? And stun is going to be the #2 best CC type in the game currently. I'm gonna make a video on CC types and how I rank them and why it is the best in the current meta. But for now, I'm gonna keep it short and say that stun is the second best, and it is only second to none because of a lot of targets being immune to CC like Valentino and Faithblade, who are part of the current meta right now, guys. So other than that, stun is very relevant in the current meta because of the high probability and the high chance to do so in the battlefield, right? So freeze right now, for example, IB is only 30%. Anyways, guys, I'm gonna talk about that in another video. And so he has a 75% chance to stun your enemy teams for 2 rounds. And while it can only be triggered once, all it needs is to be triggered once, guys. And what is the perfect timing? It all depends on who you're fighting against and what your comp is. But for me and my teammates, I find that it is the best when it's triggered in the round 2. Now let's go into his other passive. His other passive is that he does gain damage reduction as well as speed. Now damage reduction is, in my opinion, a double-edged sword. It is good and bad. We're going to discuss that very shortly. Alright, so let's go to the second passive here, and we have the basic targets attacks the backline, reducing their armor by 15%. Which is underrated. It is very good, guys. It's like another Rosa, but it doesn't hit the front line, but that's fine. And as well as a maximum health, HP health to 2 random allies. Now, it may not sound like a smart heal. It may heal a target that is full health. It may heal a target that is not in a dire need of a heal, whereas Michelle would heal the lowest target. But it is still a big heal, guys, and it is still one of the best heals right now in the game. Even better than Vesa because of Vesa's, you know, she's just too weak against CC right now. Anyways, let's talk about, you know, his active as well. Active, you know, of course, weakens your enemy targets. 4 of them. It's random, but there's an icing on top, which is 100 energy to a random ally. As long as it doesn't hit Cruz, because you do kind of want to have a balance between weaken as well as heals. In terms of like a silence Cruz is actually not a bad thing because he can still heal, right? And since most endgame teams won't run a healer other than Cruz or Michelle, it is still going to kick in your favor. Anyways, guys, the active does weaken your targets, and who benefits from this in round 1? Of course, it's going to be an energy artifact, Faithblade, right? Why? We're going to talk about that because of his speed, guys. So his speed is increased by 60. So with the speed stone, he's going to be one of the fastest heroes. Of course, he's going to be faster than Faithblade, who's running a crit stone. So, I mean, even though the weakens are not going to apply for Demon Hunter, not going to apply for DA, as well as Valentino, and other CC units like Michelle, blah, 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 but it's still going to kick in and help out Faithblade. And Faithblade having a guaranteed kill in round 1 is so detrimental because if he does not get that kill, it just, you know, the longer he is alive, the more chance he has of being CC'd and shut down, guys, as the round just ages on. Anyways, guys, that's another story. So speed is very important, but like I said about the damage reduction can work against you in that if you have a 10-star with high priest tech, right, he may not be able to trigger that stun when you want it. For us, as I said, our weakest point in the game is round 2 because our teammates use at least 4 energy artifacts. So in round 2, we need some backup CC to cover any failures in the round 1. Anyways, so when can the 20% damage reduction work in your favor? Well, because since he is a priest, which is a downfall, the only weakness he has is that he's a priest. And most people are opting out of the priest comp or priest tech in terms of the endgame PvP. I mean, of course, for Aspen as well as broken space, people are going to still reinvest, as in, like, you know, those the high whales, they would, you know, spend the 2k gems to tech their, or, you know, retalent their skill tree. Anyways, but for most of us, right, we're gonna run priest tech. But in the high-end game, most people are opting out of it because Vesa has fallen off. But they're holding on because of Cruz, just to put the speed in there. But even with that speed talent, you do have to invest a little bit in the health. So it does help him not really trigger the last passive, guys. Anyways, he is so powerful because of his powerful CC. He just does so many things. He's like a Michelle 2.0, right? He heals, he gives energy, which, you know, if it's given to Faith Blade, it's just gonna be an overkill. It's gonna be just an insane damage. If he gives it to any mage who has burst like Dark Arthendo or Skurai at the end of round 1, that's just gonna be awesome. Especially Skurai in round 2, he's just gonna burst like crazy, and DA in round 2 is going to be able to CC again. It's even good on Kameth. It's just good on everyone except himself, to be honest. All right, so the CC is good on the last passive. Again, I said this so many times, it doesn't work against the top 2 heroes in terms of this PvP meta heroes like Faithblade and Valentino, but still it does protect you against the weakness of Faithblade, which is Dark Arthendo. We're going to discuss that in another video, but like I said about crowd control, but Dark Arthendo is easily shut down by DA in round 1 because DA is one of the fastest CC heroes that can shut down Faithblade because of Petrify. Anyways, guys, let's go to the next hero. I do want to keep this video a little bit shorter, and the next hero I'm going to talk about is Skurai. Of course, Skurai is good, guys. I mean, in the high-end PvP, I'm going to tell you right now, I know this is sad, but he has fallen off. There's been a recent post on Reddit about how the top 50 players on the private servers are not incorporating or using Skurai in the lineup. And I see that, I've seen that happen, and I saw that coming because of the CC heavy comp and the CC heavy meta right now. Valentino is prevalent thanks to the Hero Miracle again. It's the first time it's being given out for free. Now people are going to be able to 10-star Valentinos if they already have a 1 or 2. My server group already has people with 2, almost working on the 3rd one. I know that's an overkill, but the Valentinos, we have, of course, Faithblade, we have Cruz, and the amount of CC, of course, Demon Hunter and Skurai being a slow mage, although it is one of the fastest mages, is going to, like I said, one of the fastest mages. Of course, there's faster mages, but since that the speed of Skurai does affect him, and you cannot put a speed stone on him, right? So it does pretty much hinder him in a little bit. But a lot of people don't understand how Skurai works. I don't want to get too detailed into it. I can make a separate video on Skurai alone, but for the mid-tier and late-tier PvP players who are building a Skurai, Skurai is gonna work towards you in the mid game, in the late game, even towards the upper end game. I mean, into the entrance of the end game, it's gonna be helpful. It's gonna be helpful in towers, Aspen, Broken Space, you name it, guys. Even in Aspen and Marauder, even Aspen Nightmare, it can clear up to a lot of nodes. Actually, I've seen 1 week where I cleared up to node 22, I think, in Nightmare Aspen. Anyways, guys, let's dive into the active. So active has a chance of So Skurai in general is all about his lightning stacks, lightning marks. So the more marks there are, that's why double Skurai can work, right? Even though the double Skurais are silenced, they still do a tons of damage just using the basics because of the lightning mark stacking, right? As well as another passive where every time he takes damage, he builds up crit damage. And you can see this in the battlefield. You see that little sword icon. It stacks up. That's why I use mine in slot 1 with 6-star orange armor with the fearless armor. And I use a crit stone. And he's able to take a lot of damage in slot 1. there are fights where he sits in CC all game, but he still does his he still does his basic attack to steal the attack, which is a very supportive utility role. So he does and he will help you out in even guild wars, towers, mid late PvP, like I said. So he has a lot of things working towards him. He also has damage reduction, which got nerfed from 30% to 20%, but it's still good. It's better than nothing. It's better than dodge. If he still had that dodge talent, he probably would have had that block by now, and that would have been terrible. So I'm really happy about that. He is a crit hero, so you can build him. Well, it is recommended that you build him with crit and crit stones. You can use a Staff of the Immortal on the back line, but I really don't recommend that, to be honest, because it's all about taking damage to build up the crit damage, as well as building up the stacks. So it's all about the stacks. It's not about the attack. Of course, attack, crit, all of those stats really do boost his damage, but it's all about how much damage he takes. He's like pretty much a Hulk. If you imagine like the Marvel universe in this game, he's like the Hulk. The more angry and damage he takes, the scary becomes, pretty much. All right, so that's how he works. It's all about his burst. He really shines when he's not CC, right? Even if he's silenced and CC'd in round 1 and 2, in round 3 he'll be able to. If he survives and he's not CC, he'll be able to wipe out most of your enemy teammates. If he's in slot 1, taking all that damage, build up that sweet crit hit damage. All right. Anyways, guys, so Skurai is scary. You want to call him scary? Scary, whatever. Next. All right, let's talk about King Barton. I already made a video about him. I made a couple videos about him. I've made some, footages about him in combat and TOC. I got some clips of him in FTA. He is just as I predicted, right? He's a pretty good hero, but overall in the meta, I don't really see him work. From the tons of fights I've done against him in every scenario, the amount of top end damage I've seen in the top end PvP was about 3 to 3.6, 3.8 million damage max. I've never seen anything above that over 40 battles, guys. And in the low end, I've seen, of course, him being CC'd down and shut down. The reason why he does not shine as well as he could is because of the last passive not working like it says it's going to work, right? It says that he'll do the pretty much like a counter attack every time he takes damage. So every time he gets hurt, he has a 100% chance to attack all enemies. Right? It's like that. It says that, but it doesn't do that. From the Valentino's overload damage, when your ally skill and the overload damage hits King Barton, and as well as the end of the round overload ticks, King Barton's taking damage from that. It does not trigger last passive. Also, when he is CC'd, instead of hard CC like a petrify, a stun, or he is frozen, he does not trigger the last passive when he is taking the damage. That's where his downfall is, guys. And also, his secondary downfall is that his active has the damage reduction. Okay, I fought against King Barton in slot 1 in the back line. It's pretty much the same result. I've seen him in slot 2, slot 1, slot 3, blah blah blah, and it's just the same result, guys. I mean, it's just like, I prefer him in the backline. Same with Cruz in the current high-end PvP meta, because not a lot of heroes do hit the front line or have to go through the tank. That's why Corpse Demon has fallen off. Like I said in the last video, you just bypass that huge block of quote-unquote tanks in this current meta, so you don't really see the full benefit of King Barton in the late game in the slot 1. You want him kind of alive in the back line, taking those small hits from Kameth and just building up his passive damage. But like I said, in the middle and the late game, King Barton in slot 1, where you're fighting against Justice teams, or especially against Vesa teams or Ormus teams that have to hit the front line, he's gonna benefit, right? So this is all about where you are at the PvP meta. King Barton can work for you, and the slot positioning is not always congruent. It's not set in stone. I hate when people say, "Oh, why you run Cruz in the back line?" I had a comment saying like me and my friends were complete idiots for running him in slot 3 instead of slot 1. But it's just like, it depends on who you're fighting against and where you are at the meta, guys. So if you are early, late game, if you're early, mid game, use him in the slot 1. If you want to milk the most amount of damage in the early, late game, you can run him in the back slot like a Sigmund. And in the end game, I really don't see him in slot 1, guys, anyways, because a lot of heroes don't have to hit the slot 1. And the active also, he needs to kind of use his active to stay alive in the current burst meta. And even with it up, it's not enough. He just won't be able to survive. Faith Blade just eats through him. Any heroes with just high amount of burst, and thanks to Cruz energy giving heroes over 100 energy, which converts into skill damage. You know, it just King Barton. He has a hard time surviving, guys. Anyways, let's go to the next hero, and I do want to discuss two more heroes. There's a lot of heroes in the Abyss faction, and I want to talk about Karim. All right, Karim. When he was buffed, his passive auto attack, basic attack, sorry, as well as active, had a heal that was tied to his damage. So the heals were just astronomically huge numbers. I love that change, but guys, in the current meta, he still suffers from CC, and you don't see Karim run a Speed Stone. You don't see Assassins run Speed Stone, guys. You see them run Crit Stones right now, alright? In PvP at least. So the thing about Karim is that he will be CC'd, and even though he will be silenced, he could still get his heal off. But like I said, the silence thing, the silence is not the best form of CC, because the two heroes that use the silence are sort of taking the backseat in the high-end PvP meta, guys. So he will be locked, he'll be petrified, he'll be pretty much stunned, guys. So that is why Karim, although he is a very strong hero and he can snowball and he does have potential, just like Scary, he will take a little back seat, guys. Anyways, let's go to the last hero, which is going to be Queen. Alright, so Queen is, after the buff, she's been nasty, you know, like in round 2 or 3, coming out of a CC or silence, she's able to just truck the enemy line, and I hear all this quotes and people saying that she is a cheap version of Skurai. Yeah, I guess so, right? But what is her weakness? She is way too slow. Even in the mid game, into the even later mid game, she does suffer from against IBs, and as well as even Corpse Demon. She's prone to all forms of CC, Petrify Stun, freezes, as well as silences because of her speed being too slow, and all those heroes go before her, guys. But she does, on paper, sound great. She reduces crit and crit damage. That is awesome, but the problem is she needs to get that active off, and somehow she's not able to do that, guys. Alright, for the honorable mention, I do want to talk about Barrier. Alright, so Barrier has been, according to a lot of people, a very misunderstood hero, in my opinion. Alright, so in the Warrior meta, in the Justice League comp, back when it was Justice League versus Redemption versus Rainbow, Barrier and in the Warrior comp had a place, right, when the rounds would last up to 6, and Barrier was if he was kept alive in the back line, he was able to just dump the rest of the enemy teammates. But in the current meta, even after the buffs, right, after the buffs, people really defend him as a god tier or a tier 1 hero, and that is truly not the case because of two things. One, well, not more than two things. Well, first, the main reason is he's a warrior, and warriors right now don't have a place unless the new Light and Dark heroes is going to be a surprising. One of them is going to be a powerful warrior hero. It's going to take a little bit more than that. It needs a little bit of an overhaul like they did with the mages. They had to buff a lot of mages, and they had to redesign their speed as well as introduce a lot of OP mage heroes. But in terms of Barrier, he's a warrior, he is slow, he is susceptible to CC, and his damage kicks in after round 4, which in most cases in this current meta, the matches are decided by round 2, 3, or even 1, depending on how well you CC'd or locked down the targets. So kicking in round 4, it's just way too late, and it's hard to keep them alive because people are not running Deer, people are running Snake, and Snake and Wolf Pets are just eating through any heroes right now, and the heals cannot keep them up. Vesa, Ormus have fallen off as well because of the lack of speed and susceptibility to CC. Alright guys, that's all for today. I know it's all about the Abyss faction. I'm not going to discuss the other heroes because they pretty much have no presence in the endgame PvP meta, guys. If you found the video helpful, please hit the thumbs up button and subscribe, guys. And I'm going to come back tomorrow about a guild war, climbing the guild war ladder, a video on that, guys. Alright, so stay tuned, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.